We start. I'm going to
Okay,
share the text
yeah.
and
So I began at 258 and changed that to if grisly old age were not defending you, because I went into the possessive there just translating across quickly, and it wasn't
258.
258.
A mere set get us. So
Yeah,
if
that's right. Eme, that's right. And the eme is a correct usage in the negative, isn't it? Later, I think down about 262, we'll have something, a different negative
yeah,
word,
yeah,
not with.
that's because yeah,
Yeah,
and ook is for facts. Roughly, there's a lot of complications, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
whereas mere is for subjunctives and optatives often. Yeah, and for things that aren't facts. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I don't really understand what you said about the type of possessive case. So you might go into that a bit later.
So
I
that just on that, so that how do we translate that 258? If
258.
yeah,
Okay,
if
258. So if grisly old age were not defending you, not protecting you, not keeping you safe, yeah,
yes,
yeah,
you
that
would not be
yeah, then you would not
would be
you would be
yeah,
seated captive among the Bacchantes, among the Bacchantes.
yes,
Yeah, and then for introducing, I'm going to say this week, I'm going to say grievous initiation rites. Last week I said sort of bothersome or troublesome or something. I can't remember quite what, but I was a bit gentler on Pentius. So yeah. Also, I read somewhere, not reliably, that Pentius was a cousin of Dionysus. Anyway, someone was asking about that relationship. So
yes.
yeah, so then there's a little question coming on. So where am I? Okay, so Gunai So we're to line 260. Gunai hopur botruos endaiti gignetai ganos. So I'm not quite sure how to connect those sentences. Ganai xigar, one line, and then the next line. But um, in any case, we seem to have that ganai gan. That's not relevant there. Okay, so I've just left it at um, for women. Just left it at that for the time being, and then moved on and said, "Oh, well, I can go into the grammar. So, homo is where or somewhere. Boutros is masculine genitive singular of the cluster of grapes. It doesn't say wine grapes. It just says a cluster of grapes. What do you say to that, Martin? It doesn't say wine grapes. Just says a cluster of grapes. Anyway, and it takes a dative. Deity is a feast and a feast. So we've got in a feast, and then dignitae is like becoming or being born. So I've had to use slightly different words there. And then ganos is brightness or sheen or gladness or joy or pride. And it is actually the pride, or it relates to the grape. The grapes. It does not know it. I've just looked at it again. The grapes are no, the cluster. A cluster is singular. Yeah. And the grapes are neuter nominative singular, but the cluster is masculine. Oh, and so what is this ganos neuter nominative singular? Well, in any case, okay. So ganos is the nominative, so it's the subject of the sentence. Sorry about that. And that's what I've achieved finally, just losing my nerve a bit. So coming back to there, I have wheresoever, that's the humo, wheresoever the gleam of the cluster of grapes bears its glinting in the feast. And then I've added like with women or for women. I'm not wanting to say it's the women's feast. Who is it? Stedman invokes some type of possessive, which I can't completely understand. Stedman says, first of all, he states, yeah, okay, that you've got a causal present in a, so go on. I think that's not necessarily should say, but Gunaik si dignetai, he says women have dative plural possession, make the subject ganos, the object. Well, I'm not going to do that because it's not.
Hang on. Sorry.
Yeah. This is Stedman.
The subject, ganos, which is what you said, yes?
He's the subject ganos,
Yes.
the object. That's what Stedman recommends.
Hang on, what was the word you said after subject?
Ganos.
Yep, yep. Okay, that's very clear. The subject
Yeah.
is ganos, right?
Yeah.
That's the subject of the verb gignitai.
Yeah, but Stedman's saying make the subject ganos. Make the subject ganos the object.
Of what verb?
Okay, so he's talking about e sargon there, isn't he? So e sargon is introducing the right
Right.
system.
Okay, so asargon
Yep.
has the direct object teletas,
Yeah.
right? So because you introduced rights,
Yeah.
vicious rights in this
Yeah.
case, yep.
Yeah.
So ganos is not the object of asagon, yep.
Yeah.
It's the subject of dignitai.
That's right. But I'm telling you that Stedman.
Okay, but Stedman, hither
Oh,
and thither, whatever he says. Okay, let me
right.
have a quick look.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I thought you were contradicting me rather than Stedman.
No,
I
no, I
think.
was just trying to figure out what you were saying because you're speaking, quite quickly, and I'm trying to follow as
Oh,
much as
yeah.
I can.
Okay. Yeah, I do that. Right. Thank you. Okay. So sorry. So really, what I've decided is wheresoever the gleam of a cluster of grapes bears its glinting or gleaming, kind of gleaming in the feast, so that everybody is really gleaming around them and so on, a glowing of joy. Um, so wherever that happens, and then I've got for women or with women, I say that, and I'll just go ahead and complete the translation for the moment. I say that nobody, not rests sound of or rests hearty of the mysteries of the sacrifices. So he really is in high umbrage about this setting. But let's go to Uk, Hugias, Uden, Eti Lego Ton Orgion. So ton Orgion. So uk adverb not hugias is neuter accusative singular, sound or healthy or hearty. Hugies. Hygiene sounds very like it. Uk eti any longer. So hugens enai uden, that nothing is healthy, and then there are actually three negatives there, so you come back upon yourself with the statement that I made, which is nothing or nobody remains healthy or rests hearty or rests sound in the mysteries, because you've got still there as well in eti.
Correct. That's good. That's good. So let's just go back a touch. So 260, gu nixi gar. So the gar, normal translation, because. And he's saying you introduced vicious rights and you'd be arrested, right?
Yep.
Because, and then we have the phrase that the clause that you correctly translate as where the joy of the grape comes about in the feasts. And I think we do have to take it as a possessive dative of that belong to women, the women's feasts.
Do you? Okay, yeah. I don't understand that yet, but if I continue, I'll probably...
So normally, So I think we're more used to the genitive of possession. So we'd expect gunai corn, right?
Yeah.
Of women,
right.
And we don't have that, but it is less common to have a dative of possession,
right?
But it especially occurs with gignomai and esti, because there is to such and such, or there comes to be to such and such, and that means there belongs to such and such.
Right.
So there is this use. It's usually, and it's more frequent with a perfect verb. We don't have a perfect verb, but we do have gignitai, and you do get the dative of possession with gignitai and Amy on occasion, as we do here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
so that's the first part, right? Sorry. In the second line, all I'm doing is just setting out what you've said. I haven't got any.
I'm enjoying it. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so legor is the main verb. I say that, and then we have accusative and infinitive.
Yeah.
The accusative subject of the statement in indirect discourse is hugies, as you said, means healthy, right?
Yeah.
So I say that esti, well, it'd be ani,
Yeah. So no. Yeah.
infinitive ani,
Yeah.
that there is no longer anything healthy. Literally in the Greek, it's there is still nothing healthy. There is not still nothing healthy. But
That's right.
the double
Yeah.
negative doesn't cancel it out.
No.
If it's a compound negative after a simple, as we have here, uden, it reinforces. So there
Yeah.
is absolutely nothing healthy anymore
Yeah.
belonging to those rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, is
Right.
that
Right.
that's an
Yeah.
agreement, I think.
Right, that's lovely. So now, Martin, I've got a question which will probably possibly be interesting to other students here. I was actually trying to ascertain what case was taken by various verbs. Now, how would I go about that? So
Well,
you just, yeah. How
so
do I do it? How do I find it?
for most,
Yeah,
okay, so most cases have a regular use, and most verbs are regular and take an accusative if they have a direct object. So there are some
yeah,
verbs, though, that take
yeah,
a different case for two reasons.
yeah,
One can be
yeah.
because they're a
Right.
compound verb, and the prepositional prefix of the compound verb requires a certain case.
Yep.
So gignorscore, I recognize, takes an accusative. Kata
Right.
gignorscore, I accuse, takes a genitive. So
Right.
there's that. There's those examples, or if you have n at the beginning of a compound verb, it'll always take the dative.
Oh, really?
But there's
Okay.
also other verbs that,
Ah,
for
yeah.
some reason,
Yep.
possibly to do with the sense, take a
Yep.
different case than the accusative. But
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
no strict rules about that. You just come across it, and
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Um, yeah, I don't have any other comments really to make, I think, on that. Yeah, nothing else really. Thank you
yeah.
very
So
much.
you can put the dislike of female joy on Pentheus, not Euripides.
Yeah, poor
Yeah.
Pentheus. He hasn't got his mind together at this stage. Yeah,
I was drawing the family chart, and
yeah,
it it turns out that um, yeah, no. So Pentheus is related to, well, Hymen and Cadmus found Thebes, and one of their daughters is Semele, who uh, gives birth to Dionysus through Zeus. Another of their daughters is Agave, um, who gives birth, marries one of the sawn teeth that turn up into become soldiers in Thebes, and they give birth to Pentheus. Now, interestingly, Pentheus is the father of Menocius, who's the father of Jocasta, uh, who is, and her brother is Creon. And there's some real similarities between Creon and Pentheus. But that as part of the Oedipus, you family
that's
problems.
yeah, yeah. Dodge talks about that. Is Tiresias? Tiresias here is a kind of a prophet or something, isn't he?
Yeah,
And is that the same as in the Antigone? Tiresias, was there
yeah.
a Tiresias? Was a different?
Well, this is the thing. I don't know if it's a different one. I'm just assuming there's the same one. But
Yeah.
the timing,
Okay.
maybe he's
Yeah.
150
Okay.
years old. Yeah, I will look into that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. All right.
Thanks very
There
much,
you go.
Myra. Did anyone have any questions or? Okay. Um,
I'm next.
great. Thanks, Michael.
So the chorus, tes dusabeas. Now the commentators say that this is a genitive of exclamation. So the chorus is saying the impiety, the sacrilege, just an exclamation. Orcasen uk ide theus, cadma taton sparanta, gegene stakun, ekianos de on pais kataiskunes genos. So we've got two questions here that they're addressing to Pentheus. One is ide theus ton aren't the person singular to revere, respect. Still go? Yep. You're silent, Martin.
Yeah, some glitch happened there. The recording stopped and started, Martin.
Yep.
Yep.
Something went wrong. Let me just try and share a text again. Oh, it's the god Dionysus was unhappy with something.
So, a strange Cadmus, that's the
Damn it.
of masculine. The earthborn race, and I guess that's referring to the teeth of the dragon he sowed that kill each other, but a few survived. And then the second question, Horn Pius, the nominative singular masculine present participle of the verb to be, as a son, being a son ekionos of ekion, kanaiskounes, will you disgrace, dishonour your race? Now, Stedman's got an acute accent on the upsilon, but Diggle has got a circumflex on the ace.
Sorry, what word is that?
Kite aiskunes.
Right.
So in Diggle, it's the future.
Yeah.
It's the second person singular future, but Stedman's text has got a present tense.
Right.
Translated as future, and will you, a son of Echion, will you disgrace your race, your family?
Yeah. Yeah, obviously the original
Okay.
text wouldn't have had accent marks, so it's a late interpretation anyway. And I noticed, it looks like the manuscript has the present.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to point out what's going on, so in Katai Schooner, excuse me just for one moment. Yeah, sorry, I'm just teaching a class.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
No, please. I've just paused the room. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, you just wonder. Sorry, sorry. Where are we?
We're with the verb kat aiskuno.
Yeah. Okay. So there are some verbs that in the future act as if they're a contract. They're a contract. They have a contract verb. In this case, aor. In fact, it's almost always aor. And that's the only difference between the present and the future. Yeah.
Isn't that where they end in a particular consonant? Angelo.
Yeah.
Aiskuno.
Yeah.
It's the consonant at the end that makes them do that, isn't it?
I think that's the main reason.
To it.
Yeah. Yeah. But you see it across a few different kinds of verb. But I think that sounds right.
So keep going.
Yes, please.
So then we go to Tiresias. Hotan labe tis ton logon anes sophos kalas aphomas umeg ergon eulegain. Now the main clause is umeg ergon eulegain, and there's an esti in there. And there's a hotan temporal clause before it with air subject is tis aner sophos. Hotan, whenever some wise man, labe, second singular subject, when takes, makes, does, a calas a formas. noble beginnings, noble starting points to log on of his argument, of his speech. U esti, it is not meg ergon, a big job, a big task, a lot of work, eu legein, to speak well. Okay?
Yes, I think it's okay, but
So keep going.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice summary of
Nice little epigram.
yeah, and the self-refuting basis of modern thought. Please carry on.
Yep, trokon. Hos frontois lagoisuk enesi soi frenes. So we've got a mend, and the two verbs are ekes and uk enesi. Su ekes, you horse phronon, as someone understanding, from phronio, the verb, the present participle, nominative, masculine, singular. You, like someone who understands, ekes eutrokon glossan. Now, as I understand it, eutrokon means, sort of refers to wheels, running easily. But I'm not sure when it's coupled with glosson, is it positive or negative? You know, you have a free-flowing tongue. Now, does that mean he's articulate or he's prolix?
Well, the horse phronon can be translated, a few different ways, but whenever you have horse plus a participle, it's saying this is what you think. So you could translate it as if you are intelligent. So you have a fluent or a glib tongue as if you are intelligent, might be more the sense, or it could be less critical.
Yeah, okay. Well, fluent's not so critical, but glib is.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
glib's an interpretation.
So as if
but
you're
it's an
intelligent, as
interpretation
if
that
you
agrees with the
understand.
horse.
Yeah, you have a fluent tongue, but phrenes, understanding, intelligence, eukenesi is not in entois logoisi, in the things you're saying. And soy, again, I guess, a possessive dative, the things of yours that you're saying. And enesi is just the third person plural, the verb to be, with enami. So there's no intelligence in what you're saying, is the gist of it.
Yeah, and you can see phronon and phrenes have the same root. To
Well,
think.
that's what I wanted to say, as if you understand, but there's no understanding. It's later the same
Yeah.
origin, but there's no.
Michael, can you
That
hear
was
me?
my slate. Yep.
You can hear me? No, you can't hear me.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, no, it's just that
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
what you're saying to me keeps freezing, and I get half of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the images on the side keep freezing,
Okay.
which I might see if I can just turn off.
Yeah, I'm not getting any messages about an unstable connection or anything at the
I
moment.
am. So
Okay.
I'm sure it's my end.
Right.
yeah, I'm not, Martin. I'm getting clear from Michael.
Yep. Yeah. No, I'm sure it's my end.
Right, okay. Oh,
Okay.
let's battle it.
Okay. So yeah, just okay. So yeah, no, that's all good. Any questions?
Yep.
Yeah, I just have if you could just confirm for me before I start the next section. Started at Parisius thing. So the after to
Actually,
I'm sorry,
it
Chris.
almost is a sort of an attack
Sorry,
But
hang on. What's going on?
metaphorically, I think it becomes the meaning of aphormos.
Yeah, well, it's a
Oh,
hallmare
okay.
can be an attack, an uphaulmare, but it's also an impulse. It's where you start from.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
So
There's a verb or numi, isn't there? A me verb or numi.
yeah, yeah, there is a me verb ornament. But there's
Yep.
hallmare and hallmare. Yeah.
I actually too also had a question on mine before you go, Chris, because the Gunike cigar line, which is 260, if we could just quickly look at that, the gar has a grave accent, and the other gar has actually usually an acute accent, and one is a conjunction and one is just FO. With the acute accent, it means because or since, some kind of causality happening, reason happening. But I was wondering whether it was to do with the pronunciation. What was it to do with? Because it's got a grave like cigar.
Where's the difference? Sorry.
On 260.
Yep, 260 and where else?
Well, Gunite cigar, the word gar, I'd had to check out the word gar because of the way I was arguing my translation. So gar usually has an acute accent, and then it's for a preposition.
Yeah, but
And
it's behind whenever another word follows
that's what I want you to say.
the last position, it
Yep.
turns into a grave unless the following word's an enclitic.
That's what I wanted to know. Thank you very much. So I thought that probably was the case, but I can't figure that yet.
So if you
Yeah.
look at where do we have one on this page? So look at line 269.
Yeah.
Uk enesi soi prenes. So enesi only has that acute accent over the last iota because soy is enclitic. Right?
Right.
Whereas normally
Okay.
that would turn to a grave. Like look at men in the line above in line 269. Right, that's a grave because there's a word
Yep.
that's following that's not enclitic. Yeah. So the
Okay.
enclitics
All
are
right.
Amy, Amy, the personal pronoun, a few other little bits and pieces.
Yep.
But otherwise, it'll normally turn to a grave.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. I thought it would be that, but I couldn't do it myself. Yeah, I couldn't figure it myself. Thank you very much. Sorry, Chris. I hope that
Yeah,
has
no, that's all right. Thank you.
train of thought too much.
No, not at all.
Thank you.
Prase de donatos kai legem, foios te anir, kakos polites dignitai, nun uk ekon. So the verb here is legain. One verb is legain, and the other one is gignitai and ekon. So the debt and a strong man ane legain, which we had the thrase is rashly, in rashness. A strong man able to speak in rashness. Gignitai, so the top of the next page, gignitai in the Stedman becomes kakos polites, bad citizen, and then nun uk ekon, not having good sense. And then the next little bit, hutos de.
So just to tease out a tiny bit. So in the first line in 270, you've got powerful, capable, right, through rashness. And then you've got a man who is able to speak. I'm not sure if they go together or if it's two different things. Like a man able to speak and who is capable because of rashness, is a bad citizen because he doesn't have intelligence. You know what I mean? Like it could. Did
Yeah.
anyone see anything different about whether it was capable and powerful by rashness? Because I think it's capable in rashness because of rashness, and able to speak.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just so this is, I mean, we're getting all the words for thinking properly. So nous is intelligence, which is, you know, when you have nous, you're thinking the truth, and to put things simply. And phrenes and phronon in the 68 and 269, it's similar. Like phronon means something like knowing the truth, thinking the truth. So we translate it by understanding or whatever. But it's not just thinking as in having an opinion. It's perceiving what's true or right.
Tosto o daimon oneus. Onsu diagalas uk an nine megathos kath helad estai. So this is so this and this new God. And this new God, and hon is the relative pronoun pointing back to the new God. Who you to diagalas, and diagalas is either future or present. And if it's present, it could be indicative or subjunctive. So who you will love, who you will who you will mock, I guess. Who you will mock or who you may mock.
But that's present, right?
It can be present, yeah. Or
I think it
who
is
you are
present.
mock. Oh, it is present. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
in the future, I think it's glossomai.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. So that you like those contract, the verbs that are actually contract verbs in the present usually add a sigma and lengthen before in the future, or the aorist when they add a sigma as well. So that makes them a little bit easier to recognize.
Okay.
Whereas there are those other words
So,
that change to a contract verb in the future. Yeah.
you. Who came in is first middle. I would, so optative with un, I would not be able to say posos megathos, how much greatness, katha elad estai, future middle of Amy, throughout the whole of Greece. I would not be able to say exepen, which is the infinitive of exepon, to express. I would not be able to express how great such a person would be throughout the whole of Greece. I think that's it. Oh, he will be. Stay. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
that's very good. There's a real difficulty there because megatos is neuter, so it's tot negatos. It's a third declension. So this megatos, I can't write. It's not writing for me, but the megatos in line 275. That's an accusative of respect. So I wouldn't be able to declare in respect of greatness. And then hosos, which you can translate, you know, how great, but that's confusing because megathos is greatness. So how, yeah, I don't know, how much he will be throughout Greece.
Oh, well, I'll pretend that I noticed it was neuter, and I'll take all the accolades for overcoming that problem.
Feel free.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
I mean, you understand. Obviously, you understood all the words. It's just that difficulty because you expect megathos is agreeing with hosos.
Yeah.
So hosos is definitely Dionysus.
Yeah.
How great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And notice this is what we learned very early on in Greek. Hot daimon, hot neos. We've got an attributive adjective by repeating the article. Yeah, as which is exactly as you translated. Okay. Sorry, Chris, was that your section?
To me.
Yeah, thank you. That's
Thanks, Chris. That's great. And then we're back to Michael.
Yeah. Duogania ta prot en anthropos. Young man. I think there's an asin to be understood. For two things are the first, the primary, ta prota, among men, among people, in anthropos. Demeter thea, gere esten, onoma de hypoteron boule kale. Demeter, the goddess, she is earth. Hypoteron onoma, whatever name, boule, sorry, no, kale is an imperative. So the main verb is kale. The imperative of kaleo. Call hypoteron the two name wish. And that's just the second singular present of boulamai.
Right. What is the case of duogar? It's the same structure as the women gar that I was handling.
So, well, duo is just the number, two things.
Yeah, but don't the numbers don't they decline?
They do.
Yeah.
That's the nominative or the accusative. Yep.
Yeah, I thought so.
So what's the neuter?
Sorry?
What's the neuter of duo? The neuter nominative.
I think it's the same duo.
Yeah, that's why I say it's nominative, two things.
Yeah, that's right. It is nominative. Yep.
So it's duo gar asin, for there are two things.
Yep.
Yeah. He uses that structure again, that I had in line 260, which was the gunaixi gar. So it's the same. He seems to do that. Anyway, yeah.
No, it's a very common thing in Greek that gar, we don't begin sentences with because, but a lot of Greek sentences begin with gar because, and explaining the sense of the previous sentence. Yep. Okay, my screen is frozen.
So, young man, for there are two things which are primary among humans. Demeter the goddess, she is the earth. Call her whichever of the two names you wish. Haute men en kseiroisin ek trefe brotus. Haute, she, or this woman, this goddess, ek trefe is just your third person singular present indicative of ek trefo. She nourishes brotus mortals en kseiroisin. Now, according to the commentators, this is an instrumental sense. And it means with dry food, with cereal. And as I understand it, is we're contrasting Demeter with bread, and then Dionysus with wine, who's staples. And that's why it's say Royson with dry food or with cereal or with bread, as opposed to the wine that Dionysus provides. And that was the bit I had to do.
Thank you, Michael. It's great. Yeah, just when you translated, quite correctly lines 275 to 6, I don't think you said "and" for after "ger de." And I was just wondering why it was there. So, I mean, it's there because he's saying Demeter, the goddess, and she is earth. And it's almost not
Is it a
reductive.
capital gamma too in Diggle?
I'm sorry?
Does Diggle give it a capital gamma
Yep, he
to
does.
make it a proper name? I
Yeah,
can check.
yeah. Well, I mean,
He did.
yeah. But, it's
So
almost,
Gaia.
he begins by saying the divine thing and then saying, the goddess who has a name, Demeter, and she is earth. Whatever name you call her, she's what crops grow from. It's just a different way of looking at it.
It isn't Calais imperative. Call her whatever name you wish.
Yeah.
So why would you translate the de as conjunctive, as and?
But he's saying Demeter, a goddess, and she is earth. So he's explaining what she is.
Okay,
And maybe he's explaining where we get the goddess from.
right.
But there's a lot of this, it's the most famous instances in the first chorus of the Agamemnon, where the chorus sings, Zeus, whatever name actually fits you. And they say that in about 5 different ways, and they say it over and over. And it's, it's part of this Greek sense that the divine, these powers that rule our lives, whatever they are, aren't fully knowable, stable, etc. And that leads some authors to,
Martin, your video's freezing.
yeah.
Yeah, we're having trouble with your voice there, Martin, a bit.
Okay, well let's carry on. Who's after? Who's next?
And your video.
I don't know.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm not. It's not my turn yet.
First and next.
Okay. So that's me. So then we have a relative clause, hos delt epate, which requires an antecedent, such as like he, because he who came epate, usually we get epato to mean then or thereafter. So he who came later, and this is part of the myth shared by all of the early poets that Dionysus came later. So he who came thereafter, antipalon ho semeles gonos, and that's in apposition to ho gonos, the offspring of semele, and semeles in the genitive singular. Antipalon is an adjective which literally it means to wrestle against. So adversative, but it's an adjective that we don't yet have a noun for, and we'll get that in the next line. And the next line is botruos, hu gron pom heiure kase nenkato. So the offspring of semele, main verb is heiure, which is the second aorist of heuriskor, to discover, or to find or make. Discover. He discovered the porma. Porma is a drink. The verb is pinor, and the concrete substance that you drink is porma. Typical third declension neuter word like soma, somatos, porma, pormatos. And the drink is described by the adjective hugros, hugron, which is wet. So contrasting, as Michael was saying, with the dry food, cereal, corn, and so on. Okay, so he discovered the wet drink botruos, which is a word that Margaret passed before, of the vine, i.e. wine. And then we have kase nenkato, which is kai, which has been contracted with ace nenkato, and I don't think I can write. I can't write. So that's ace peror.
Yeah.
And peror in the second aorist is nenkon. And here it's in the middle, which I'll come back to. So kai, ace, nenkato is he, and he introduced it. Tener tois, the first word of the next line, four mortals, or two mortals. And it's in the middle, so it's not just the act of introducing wine to mortals, the wet drink to mortals, but he introduced it for himself. So it's part of his I don't want to say self-exaltation, but that will do. Okay, then we have another relative clause. Ho paure tous talai porus brotus lupes. And so ho is a neuter nominative and singular. It's nominative because it's the subject of its own sentence, because it's the subject of the verb paue. It's neuter singular because its antecedent is porma. So it's the wet drink which paue stops. And it stops suffering mortals, and what it stops them from, genitive of separation, is luper, or pain. So the wet drink which stops human beings from their pain. And then we have, within the relative clause, a temporal clause, hotan ples torsin ampelu roes. Whenever ples torsin, which is the aorist passive subjunctive, whenever they become full of the flow of the vine. I'm pretty sure that ampelos is vine. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me just check the lines because I might be going over. I can't. Because the document. Okay, Andrew's at 284, but Andrew's not here. So, yeah, I guess I'll be going on. Okay, so next line. Hupenon te letan ton kat hemeran kakon didorsen. Sorry?
Andrew's here.
Oh, Andrew. Sorry?
Andrew's here.
Okay, I can't
Andrew's
see.
here.
I'm starting at 284, but have we got there yet?
Oh, no. Thank you. Thanks. I can't see the document with the lines, and I had the wrong number in my head. Thanks, Andrew. Okay, so hupenon te letan ton kat.
So, Martin, just before you go on, you said place thosin was aorist passive subjunctive.
Yep.
What's the verb?
What is the verb in the
The
active?
lexical form of the verb.
Yeah. I'm going to have to look it up because I can't remember.
Another comment too. Notice it just you
Because we've got plesi as
first decline parsi.
Sorry?
I think I'll ask later.
Play me? Play me.
Pimplami. Yeah. Pimplami.
This will move you away from the text. Oh no, you finish, and then I've got a question when you finish, Martin, before Andrew comes on.
Yeah.
If you would, yeah.
Okay, so main verb, didorsen, third person singular, present, active, indicative, didormi. So he gives, and we've got the direct object at the beginning. He gives hypnos, which is sleep. And we've got lethe in apposition to hypnos, sleep, which is a forgetfulness. Those of you like Heidegger can reflect on this. Forgetfulness of the evils that are day by day. Torn kakon, forgetfulness of the evils, kat hemeran, distributive in each day. Okay, and then that line finishes udestin alo parmakon panon. Esti, there is, nor is there any other pharmacon, a word with various senses, but here cure from ponon can be labors or afflictions. Nor is there any other medicine for afflictions.
Right. Yeah, I get that. You actually, when you were parsing in line 279, said that one of the nouns was first declension. Now, I've been actually asking myself as I've been studying lately. Most of the scholars don't seem to mention declension much now, and I was wondering, what is its position in poetry, in reading ancient classical Greek poetry? Yeah, declension, is it very useful or?
Well, you need to know it when you're learning the words, but the commentators tend to expect that we've already mastered the declensions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, but it's just a tool for organizing patterns of endings. But
Yeah, yeah.
porma, like soma, that's third declension, right? It's not first. Yep. Like
I don't.
somatos, top,
Yeah, yeah.
somatos.
I've got a neural.
Yeah, I can't hear
And
anymore.
Martin, go back to antipolon. You didn't go back to antipolon.
Yeah, so that's modifying porma. So it's literally, it's the opponent drink, but what it is like it's not quite as harsh.
Counterpart? Counterpart?
Yeah, you could say counterpart. Yeah. So in contrast with the dry things, dry foodstuffs, we have the wet drink as counterpart.
Yep.
Yeah, this internet has been worse than it's ever been. So hopefully I can do something about that before we
Mine had a
meet again.
complete breakdown. Yeah.
Okay, Andrew, can you?
It's
Yeah, I'm ready to start. I'll probably just be 10 minutes, so we have a break, I suppose, if you want. Or
Yes.
we can.
can you hear me? Or
I can hear you. Thank you.
okay, starting from 284, hutos. Hutos theosi spendatai theos gegos. So hutos is nominative masculine, meaning this. I'm assuming it's going to go along with theos, which is God, and then theosi would be dative plural of two or for the gods. Spendatai is from spendor, make a libation. Spendatai is a third person singular present indicative. It's a middle passive. I'm going to come back to that, Martin. So I think the translations go two different ways depending on that verb. And then gegos is from gignomai, be born. And I think it's a perfect participle singular active masculine nominative. So it means has been born or something. Now, I suppose I can go two ways. Say, this god has been born, being poured out in libation to the gods. That's if it's a passive. But if it's a middle, it would be this god has been born, pouring himself out in libation to the gods.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm taking Gegos. One of the two interpretations that you're supplying is if we take Gegos as concessive, although he is a god, he is poured out in libation to the gods.
Although he's a god, he's poured out.
Yeah, but that's providing an interpretation of Gegos, which, as you point out, that's the perfect participle from Gignomai. But it could just be that, yeah, born a god. I don't know about pours himself out. Maybe because we had that other middle with himself doing something.
I think the query I'm raising whether spendatize is a middle or passive, or
Yeah, I was taking it as
it
passive, but yeah,
you takes it passive, right?
yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, your suggestion is entirely possible. He pours himself out. A
Is
god
it
himself
possibly
pours himself.
metonymy that, he's just like Venus is love, or sorry, Aphrodite is love, that Bacchus is wine by a
Yep.
metonymy?
Now, in either case, he is wine in
It
this.
could be kind of like electricity or something just flowing about, or I don't know, being a medium of exchange or something.
Yeah, no, his name Dionysus is said to be poured out in, I forget where it is. So yeah, that definitely is possible. Yeah.
Okay. Then it continues up. Hoste dia tuton tagath anthropous ekain. Hoste is an adverb meaning so that. Dia with an accusative following could mean through, and tuton is an accusative singular for this. Now I'm taking this as referring to the preceding line about the god being poured out libation. So I might make that this ritual. And then tagath is good things, plural noun. Anthropos is plural accusative for men or people. Ekain is infinitive. So I would say that is so ekain will have the subject accusative of anthropos and the object accusative of tagatha, so that through this ritual people possess good things.
That's right. So I think Teuton though for ritual might be neuter, whereas because it's masculine, I'm saying it. I'm taking it to be on account of him.
Okay, right.
The result is that because of him, human beings have good things.
I see. Yeah, accusative of respect or something.
Well, no, after dia, so dia, as you said, like dia plus accusative means through, but through in the sense of on account of.
Right.
It's a very frequent use that, like dia t on account of what or why.
It can also mean because, can't it, dear? So because.
Yeah, that's because it's a strong word, but yeah, on account of, through, yeah, because of, yeah,
On account of him, people have good things.
that's right. That's good. Yeah.
Right.
Martin, isn't forced with the infinitive, is it the actual result or the intended result? I can never remember.
Yeah, the infinitive
A result clause.
The infinitive is the natural result.
So yeah, so infinitive after horse, the natural result. Yeah.
Yep.
Kai katagelas nin hos enerafe dios maro. And that's a question. And katagelas is from katagelao, to laugh at or mock. And katagelas would be a second person singular present indicative active. And nin is a pronoun meaning him. Horse is an adverb, can mean a lot of things. I'll take it meaning because here. Enadlathe is from en raptor, so up in. Enadlathe is a third person singular eros indicative passive. And I think it's not too difficult. This, I think it just means, but do you laugh at him because he was sewn up inside Zeus's thigh?
Yes.
So that's a fairly straightforward one, that. Okay, then didaxo source. How do I pronounce that? It's a sigma followed by horse. So you'd say horse or
Yep. That's exactly right.
horse?
So horse.
Yeah.
My kingdom
Kalos,
talk.
kalos eke tode. So didaxo is the first person future from didasko, teach or tell. The sigma of the posterity would be se, accusative, I would assume. Then horse is an adverb meaning how. Now, I'll come back to kalos in a minute. Tode means this, and I'm going to take it as meaning this story, the preceding story about him being sewn up in Zeus's thigh. Now, according to Beetham, this is page 286 for Beetham, if anyone needs to look it up. It's if ekor is with an adverb, it's equivalent to Amy being with adjective, in which case kalos, which is an adverb meaning nobly or beautifully, would be taken as meaning noble or beautiful. So if that's right, then the translation would be, I shall teach you that this story is noble.
Yeah, so kalos has four main uses: have, hold, be able, be in a certain condition. When it means be in a certain condition, it takes an adverb. As you pointed out, that's what it has here. So I'll teach you how this is good. Like how this is a beautiful, the fact, these circumstances, this holds well. This is, you can't say it in English, but how this is beautiful. Something.
Yeah.
That's why he's saying it's equivalent to Amy, which is a little bit strong. It's, be in a certain condition, how it holds in a beautiful condition. But that's extremely awkward English.
So that it would be taken as an adjective then, the kalos then.
No, it's an adverb, exactly as you say. So an adverb plus ekor means to be in a certain condition. So if I say au ekor, I'm saying I'm good. If you
right. No,
if I say how are
that
you,
makes sense. I couldn't.
if I say how are
Right.
you,
Yeah. Okay.
and you say au ekor, it means I'm good.
Thanks for that, Mark. That's made sense. What Beetham said, he didn't really explain it properly. I couldn't quite follow him, but what you're saying makes more sense. Yeah.
Yeah, ekor, because it's so common, it's really helpful to keep in mind. There are four main uses: have, hold, be able, be in a certain condition. And it's just because it's so common, but those uses are quite different. Like eke plus infinitive, that means to have the ability to do something. Eke plus adverb, to be in a certain condition or
Right.
way.
Yeah. Yeah. Echo seems. I think it's got about 30 different definitions in the dictionary, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's me done, Martin.
That's great. Thank you, Andrew. Very good. And precisely to the minute, as long as you said it would take. So yeah, let's take a break and come back in 10. I believe, where do we get to? 287. That's right, Andrew took us down at 287. Just try and get hold of this text. Wow, this computer needs to be taken outside and shot.
Jim. Yeah, I have images of myself sometimes. I'm rather
Yeah, it's just
shocked. It's so irritating. So rather than softball.
Chris was suggesting on the message board that shut down our videos. Maybe that might reduce the bandwidth.
I'm happy to shut down video.
Talk to us, Martin. Let's see how you sound.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got that little icon of a clock continuously turning up. So whenever I can't write very often, and I I'm having trouble moving the page, but I think I've got the right line. The two lines to begin. Is it Martin?
Yeah.
No, is it at
289 was Janet.
280. Okay, so where are we? We're at okay. How this holds well. I'll teach you how this holds well. And Janet, you're not here, is she? Or is she? I can't see anymore.
No, Janet's not.
Not with us tonight. Okay.
Here.
Okay. Epe nin her pas ek pyros keraniu. Steus estalumpon brepos a negagen neon. So epe, when, since, Zeus, and the main verb is her pasa, which is from ha pasdor, to seize or snatch away, and nin is the equivalent to auton, the accusative singular third person pronoun. So when Zeus seized him, ek, prepositional phrase, ek puteros keraniu, out of the fire of the thunderbolt, and de, main verb, anergagen, led him up. So agor is to lead up, and we have the second aorist. Anergagon is I led up. We've got the third person singular. And he led up, prepositional phrase, es Olympon, into Olympus, and then accusative direct object, the brepos, the offspring, the infant, neon, modified by the adjective new. So he led up the new offspring into Olympus. Now, let's see if I can, yeah, it actually moved. So when he did that, so then we finished that temporal clause, and now we come to a main clause beginning with hera, the wife. Hera nin telek balain up aranu. So then, hera ethele, which is from ethelor, I want, and here it's in the imperfect, was wanting. So Hera was wanting ek balain. So ek balain is the infinitive, but it's the second aorist of ek balor, which has two lambdas in the present. Let's see if I can write. So in the present, balor is an extremely common word, so it's good to get used to how it works. So, which means to throw, cast, put. Ek balor, throw out. So Hera was wanting to throw out, but it's the second aorist, which just has a single lambda, and then it has on as the ending. Wanted to throw him out up Uranu from Olympus, prepositional phrase. Apo always takes a genitive. Next line. Steus dan temer kane sat hoya de teos. And Zeus ant e plus mer kan ne or mer kan mayamai is to, it is to produce a mekane, a device, right? A device in this case against something, a counter device. So, it's ante mekane sa to. So it's the third person singular of the aorist in the main verb there. He devised a counter device, and then we have a short relative clause. Hoya, of which sort, dare, just the sort that. So of which sort, teos, a god, devises. Now, how far am I going? Let me just check this sheet. So I am Janet, and I'm going to 291, which I've just done.
Martin, the Hoya, is that a neuter plural accusative?
Yes.
The sort of things.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just thinking though, if like the a mekaner is feminine, and in form, actually no, it'd be a long alpha, so it'd be an acute accent. Yeah, so that's the neuter plural. That's right.
Yeah. And it'd be Hoyan anyway, wouldn't it, if it was feminine accusative?
So yeah.
I didn't know this myth. This is rather different. I didn't know this myth about Zeus and Hera and the fragment that he gave her as a kind of an avatar or something. How about that?
I think it's original with this play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's doing something complicated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, taking the embryo or what do you fetus into your size pretty complicated too. But I think it's marvelous. Yeah. What a dad,
So, Michael, were you taking over again at 292?
No, not to my knowledge.
So let me just check my sheet again.
I haven't prepared it. Who was that?
Okay. For some reason, I've got you down next. Has someone else prepared that I mistakenly got these lines wrong? If not, I'll just do it. But
yeah, I have this. I'm prepared.
298.
6 or so.
See, I
Something have I?
And
That's right.
Had to do.
We can get Martin to do it.
okay, so
I'm enjoying your work, Martin, anyway. It's wonderful. Thank you.
that's
Mm.
very kind.
And
So
you
You're right. Sorry, I missed that I had another slab here. I apologise.
no, it would have been your third.
Oh,
So there's no reason for you to
Yeah,
suspect
sorry.
that
yeah.
you were being
Yeah.
so heavily inflicted. So I'll read the next line in one word. Haraxas meros t tu katon and kuk lumenu. Iteros. So haraxas, that's the nominative masculine singular participle in the aorist of reg numi, a me verb, which means to break apart, break off, or shatter. Right? Now, it's in the aorist, so it means having done this, he does something else. So we're going to look for a main verb after this prepositional phrase. So having broken off, meteros t. So that's the accusative object. Having broken off some part. So a meteros is a part of something else. And what the something else is, if it's visible, will usually be in the genitive. And we've got this long genitive phrase, down to iteros. So it's a part of the ither, and it's an eta on the ending, and third declension noun, so os in the genitive singular. So iteros from ither, and that's the ether, obviously. Okay, so a small part of the ether, which is then characterized by this preposition, by this participle before it, en kuk lumenu, and you can see kuklos, which is from which we get the word cycle, which means a round thing of some kind, and the en, the encompassing circle. This is not the most common word in the entire universe. Yeah, so it's the ether, that which encircles the kathona, the earth, in the accusative. So that we've got a small direct object of the participle inside that attributive phrase. So a small part of the ether that encircles the earth. So having broken off that, then we get a verb in the indicative, edorke, which is the aorist of didomi. So he gave tonde hormeron. Now, we've just had meros, and now we get homeron, and the similarity of that is going to be made something of shortly. But he gave tonde homeron. A hemeros is something you give as a guarantee, and it can be a hostage. So, like you give a person to guarantee your behavior, that you won't start fighting again, and so on. Or you can give a monetary guarantee, surety, whatever. Okay, so he gave this hostage, ektithes, which is the second aorist participle from ektithemi, again in the nominative masculine singular, because it's also describing the actions of Zeus. Having placed outside, tithemi place, outside of. So having placed and then direct object, dionuson. I didn't actually read this, so I'll just read it from Edorke, ton de homeron tithes, dionuson heras neikeon. I'll stop there. So having placed Dionysus outside of neikeon, genitive plural, of the strifes of Hera. It's neikos, which is a third declension. I think it's a third declension neuter, tot neikos. Could be wrong. Let's have a quick check on the...
That's what Stedman says.
Okay, good. Okay, so...
Interestingly, he swaps the verbs around in Stedman's text.
Yep.
It's etheka ton homeron ektidus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got the didomi as the participle and the tithemi as the main verb.
Yeah, and that's actually the manuscript reading. So, and that would be, he put down this hostage, rendering Dionysus, rendering him outside of the quarrels. But that would be, because ektidomi could mean something like that, but it's very difficult to see how you would get both of those senses. Ektidomi means to give back, but and it can be to render or produce, but it's hard to see how it would be to save him from from the strifes of Hera. So that's why they've transposed those verbs. That's why Diggle has, in any case. So then, chrono de nin brotoi rapenai pasin en medro dios, onoma metastesantes hoti teos, herai por ho meraiuse, sun tentes logon. Yeah. Okay, so chrono, so in time. In time, mortals, brotoi, so that's the nominative, so we have our subject. Mortals, main verb, pasin, say. So in time, mortals say, then we have accusative and infinitive. The accusative is nin, he, or him, and rapenai is the aorist passive infinitive of raptor, to sow. So they say that he, nin, was sown, which is changed from the indicative, raper, to the infinitive, rapenai. So that he was sown in mero dios, into the meros, the thigh of Zeus. So he's a meteros who became a homeron, who became a metero. And there's slight differences to give different meanings to those words. But that's why the next phrase exists. So meta stersantes is the first aorist participle. Participle, nominative, plural, masculine, from metistemi, meta plus histemi. Histemi is to make to stand. Meta is frequently, when it's a prefix to a verb, means in a different way. So to make something stand in a different way is to change it. So the object of that is onoma. So changing the name from meteros, changing the name from a part of the ether into meteros, the thigh. And then we give a little dependent clause. Because conjunction, a god, theos, then main verb is ho mereuse. So that's from, let's see if I can write, homereu, or, which can be to act as a hostage. So that is to act as a homeros. So because a god, pote, indefinite, once, acted as a hostage for the goddess, so tei here, that's in Attic, we would normally expect the iota subscript. And the same here with Hera's name. We would normally expect Hera with the iota subscript. But we have these adscripts here. So because a god once acted as hostage for the goddess Hera. Sun tentes is the second aorist participle from sun tithemi, and again, nominative, masculine, plural, having put together a logos. And so here we have an interesting use of logos as story, a narrative. Any questions about any of that?
Yeah, Martin, is that basically telling us that meros thigh was confused for homeros, hostage?
I'm not sure about confused. They changed it. It's almost like it's a plan. They fabricated a story, changing the
But
word.
it's the brotoi who did it.
The mortals.
Are the men fabricating a story?
Yep.
Yeah. Aerosmith says garbled. Men garbled the word. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So the word for change, that's a very strong interpretation of metastersantes, because this metastersantes and sun tentes, that both gives deliberate activity to the humans. They changed the name and put together a story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they made up this.
We get metastasized from meta to themi.
Yep, that makes sense.
What did you say, Michael?
Well, metastasize, a medical term for cancers.
Yeah.
It sounds like it comes from.
Oh, yeah. That seems to be what happened. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what they did to the word.
Yeah.
It is the meros, the part of the ether. Does that play a role as well? Getting mixed up?
Yes, I think that's the main point, that it goes from meteros to meteros.
But there's also omeron.
That's right.
So
but the word for hostage is simply meros with a ho in front of it. So you go meros, homeros.
Yep, that's right. We got those three words with a very similar sound at the root.
Okay.
They have completely different roots, right? But yeah.
Okay.
That's fascinating.
And I mean, the spelling for homeros, the hostage, the guarantee is exactly the same as the spelling for Homeros, Homer. But that's a word from one of the islands. I forget which one, Chios or something, which means toothless, which means blind, according to one of the old lives, one of the very old lives. But maybe it may also be a complete etymologizing fiction. But I wouldn't be astounded if somehow Homer's in here. But anyway.
Actually, the little in Scotch says hom eros is a combination of homu and ararain, joined together, united, wedded, and then it becomes a pledge or a hostage.
Right.
Speaking of etymology, Martin, that Brill Dictionary of Ancient Greek etymology, is that any good?
I haven't used it a lot, but it looks good. I've just looked at a couple of words. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not. It doesn't have what we possibly are looking for, which is a working out of how the senses change and move across different words, and what words started and so on. But it does have like some the basics that you can start looking from, as well as the Indo-European root hypothesized for it and so on.
I just saw on one of the places that homeros, like a hostage, so a hostage accompanies the hostage taker, and a blind person is accompanied. There's a suggestion of a linkage there.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll have to see what we can make of that. Because it's striking how that it's the same word as for Homer. So we'll see if we can find something in this passage as we go.
So,
and the accent moves
sorry.
too. It's meros, and homeros. So the accents are in 3 different places.
Yeah, they're different words. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is Euripides, just to try and get this straight in my head, he's saying that all that stuff that we've been reading about or in the play prior to this about Zeus's thigh is just a story.
Yes.
Yes, and that it seems as though he took Dionysus to Olympus and then created I don't know, something that was a diversion for Hera.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Right, yeah. Good.
He uses that idea in the Helen too, doesn't he? Where Helen never went to Troy.
Yep.
But Zeus made a phantasm of Helen that went to Troy, and the real Helen was taken off to Egypt, where she was chased and kept safe until Menelaus gets shipwrecked.
Yeah. This is why Nietzsche clumps Euripides with Socrates and argues that they're both the destruction of tragedy, because you can find in Euripides explanations of myths that destroy the myth. But he definitely is very inventive with, and he's trying to teach something. So we'll keep our eyes out.
Okay.
And you definitely get very different things from different characters. So the overall teaching is, again, one more step. So I think we're at 298. Was that someone else?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, great, Martin. Thanks.
Okay, so Mantis, Daemon, Ode. I'm just wondering, how do you pronounce that when you got, you say Deha Daemon? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, the hot daimon.
Okay, Daemon, yeah, Deha Daemon. Okay, it doesn't flow all that easily. Okay, so Mantis, Deha daimon hode. So hode is this, and de is say but, or and. Mantis, anyway, daimon is the subject. This could be God or divine spirit, as I'm going to translate it here, because it's called theos later on. This divine spirit is as understood a prophet, mantis. This divine spirit is a prophet. Okay. And then toga Bacchae Simon kai to maniodes mantikain olain eke. So ga for to Bacchae Simon. It's an adjective, but it's with the to, the article becomes a so the bacchanalian frenzy, kaito menordes, and the madness, and then eke is the finite verb. It's third person singular present indicative. So it's two things in the nominative. So they take the singular person. So the bacchanalian frenzy and the madness, okay, hold or have or hold or something. I'm going to say hold, and then polon, much, mantikain is and that's a feminine accusative adjective, and prophetic, and it's techne is understood. It says in LSJ that more often it's left out, but sometimes it's antikain technein, prophetic art, but more often the technein is left out and understood. So for the bacchanalian frenzy and the madness, hold much prophetic art. Okay, and then otan ga theos esto soma elthe polus. Stop there. Ga for otan, whenever, theos, the god, and elthe is a the present singular aorist subjunctive active. So got the hotan, that's the whenever, and that's so the subjunctive relating to that, and it's the subjunctive of ekamai. So just to come or go. So so whenever the god theos has come, because it's an aorist, has come polos esto some. So esto some into the body. Now polos is greatly, but I mean Stedman suggests translating as in full or completely. So whenever God has come fully into the body, but I wasn't sure about that because it didn't seem to have that in LSJ. So it could be whenever the God has come greatly into the body. I don't know. What do you think, Martin?
I prefer your explanation, Martin. It's impossible to translate, but it means something like greatly, yeah.
Okay, So whenever the bodies come fully, greatly into the body, legain tomelon tous meme notas oye. So, and oye is the one-eyed verb. Third person singular imperative. Imperfect, I mean. Imperfect. So it's has made. He has made. And then tous meme non tas is a participle, plural, perfect, masculine, active. So it's he has made the frenzied, or the frenzied ones. Legain tomelon is to tell tomelon the future. So he has made the frenzy to tell the future whenever he's come into the body. That's it. Me.
He's made those, who are mad. Me not us.
Man, not us. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. How did you say frenzied?
I think I said frenzied. Yeah.
Yeah, that's completely fine. So that's a perfect. I've just written on this thing. It's the first perfect of minor mai. Is memena. I am mad. Like it's one of those perfects that has a present sense. So these are like because I'm mad because I've gone mad. Right? Minor mai is to rage or be mad or frenzied or however you want to characterize it. And so the tous memenotas are those who are frenzied because they've gone mad. So he makes those who are frenzied or those who are mad tell the future. Yeah. Striking. So just with the alter, so that, as you said, like that's subjunctive after hotan, but it has the sense of time rather than. So outside the indicative, we're speaking of aspect rather than time. So whenever it happens that the God comes into the body greatly, rather than it's something that happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, whether to keep the past sense of the aorist, but because it's subjunctive, we don't tend to do that.
That's right, exactly. It's the aspect is the only important thing, so the aorist means I'm not looking at the action as an extended thing that I'm going to interrupt by saying whilst coming into the body other things happen. I'm just looking at it as a single action whenever it comes into the body, on any occasion. Yeah.
But I thought it wasn't too bad to translate it as whenever the God has come fully into the body or greatly into the body, because that, I don't know, I thought that conveyed the sense of it being a completed action. But
anyway. So then you're giving it a perfect sense whenever it has come into the body, and that doesn't destroy the sense of on any occasion because just outside the indicative, it's usually aspect that counts. The example that we've been looking at frequently is aorist participles, which very frequently do have a temporal sense of this happened and then something else. But otherwise, aspect is primary for time.
Whenever.
So especially subjunctive and optative, like their role, because there's only aorist. There's optative and subjunctive are commonly only in the present or the aorist, because there are two kinds of ways you want to describe an action, ongoing or just as a discrete thing.
Okay.
We do have a perfect subjunctive, usually periphrastic and not very common, but we do have it.
Okay. So whenever the God comes.
Simple action comes into the body. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, where's the word future there? I just can't see it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Tom Elon. Stedman says it's the going to be. The Tom.
Oh, right. Okay. Thank you.
and that's means the future. Yeah, in this case.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Melor, yeah. Yeah, that's the basic sense. That which is melor means I'm going to do something. So top melon is that which is going to be. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, well, that's my bit.
Thanks very
Okay.
much, Mark. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sort of continuing on from what Martin's just read, Arios te moiran metalabon eke tina. So the verb is eke. So he has, referring back to Dionysus, he has, I've got te also, and then the participle metalabon, aorist active participle, masculine, nominative singular. So he's also to have, to get a share of, or partaken of. I've sort of gone with partaken of. He has also partaken of Tina, some, Moiran, share, Aries is in the masculine genitive singular. So I've got, he has also partaken of some share of Aries. And okay, so straton ga in hoplois onta carpi taxisin phobos diep toese prin loces tigain. Um, so the verb dieptoese, from dioptoeo, to make, panic, startle, to scare off, is the aorist indicative active third person singular. The nominative is phobos. So I've got, sort of went with gar for, or to explain what he's just said about partaken of some of Aries' share. For fear is the active, the actor here. For fear, panicked, I've gone with. Panicked, straton is in the accusative singular. So panicked an army. And then there's, I've just gone with a bit of a clause that comes in here that sort of explains about this army. Onta being, en hoplois. So being of hoplois is weapons, tools, implements. So being among weapons. Carpi is contraction of kai epi. So being among weapons, and epi in taxesin, in position. So this army being among weapons and in position. Oh yeah, so fear panicked an army. So it's sort of like, almost like, even though it's among weapons, it's got its weapons and it's in position. Prin loces tigain. So prin, before, tigain, to touch, to take hold of, aorist infinitive active. So before, wasn't sure how to do this. So I've just got before having taken hold of, and loces is a javelin head. So before having taken hold of, and I guess this could be as a Bacchae, is that how you pronounce that? That javelin head could be a javelin. So fear panicked an army, even though it's got weapons and it's in position, before it even took hold of a javelin.
That's good. That's good.
Yep.
And I particularly, particularly like the concessive sense you give to onta. So fear, and the dia at the beginning of di a pato aor.
Oh yeah.
It means like it scared it off and scattered it.
Okay.
But that's, I'm importing a lot into the dia. But yeah,
Yeah.
so like fear scatters an army, although it's in arms. And so, but just one tiny
Yeah.
modification. The epituxesin, so tuxis is the order or the arrangement or the rank.
Mhm.
And here it's in the dative plural. So even though, and it's in its ranks.
Okay. It's lined up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And
Okay.
here we have with thin garnor there, in the present thin garnor, we've got the second aorist infinitive, tingain, to gain. And so again, this is outside the indicative, so it's aspect. So it's not, and you translate it the right way, which is that before it touches, because it's not before it touched, it's before it touches on any occasion, right? Fear scatters, and here the dieptoese, we could take that as, they call it a nomic aorist, so it's not a past. This is the indicative, so you should expect that time is part of the tense. The tense is aorist, but I don't think it's saying fear once scattered an army. It's just what happens on any occasion that Dionysus wants to terrify an army.
Okay. Yeah.
Fear scatters an army, and that is one possible use of the aorist you sometimes get, especially in narratives. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Good.
Yeah, but that was all good.
Yeah. So the next line, just to finish this off, Mania de kai tau desti Dionysu para, which is just explaining that, let's see, the nominative is tout. So this this mania, this madness, this panic, LSJ has inspired frenzy, but I like sort of panic maybe. This panic, dekai, esti, I guess this panic, I'm not sure. I've sort of gone with this is also panic, para Dionysu, para from Dionysus.
Yeah, that's right. And just notice on the para, we've got the accent over the first.
Yeah.
So normally it's over the second. It's over the first to indicate that it's modifying the word before it, which is
Okay.
exactly as you've translated it. So it is from Dionysus. So because we've got two testi with Kai, this too is
Okay.
a madness that comes from Dionysus.
Yeah. Yep. It's but mania is nominative, isn't it?
That's right. So this effect that I've just described,
Yes. Okay.
that's in the neuter, right?
Yes.
This thing that I've just described is also a mania that comes from Dionysus.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what. Yeah. Whereas if we had this madness, it'd have to be Halter, the feminine.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
Yes.
why
Yes.
that's one of the
I see.
things that tells us to separate them. That if
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is referring to what?
Yeah, the fact that
That
fear
the army
applied
has
to an
panicked.
yeah, exactly. And so that panic is one of the variations of madness that comes from
I
Dionysus.
see. So it's sort of like it's referring back to Phobos.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
And Phobos is not the antecedent, is it?
No, it's not a strict
It'd be
antecedent.
hukos.
It's just the situation. Yeah.
It's the whole clause.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not the strict antecedent, no.
Okay.
Martin, in 30 whatever it is, 302, the metalabon ekai. Which of the four meanings of echo is that? Or is that periphrastic perfect?
I think it's
Echo with a participle.
just possesses. So have. So having shared in a part, he continues to have that part of Aries, that fate of Aries portion.
The metalabon is a participle, isn't it? An aorist participle.
That's exactly, that's the second aorist participle, yeah.
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 So it's more like equivalent to he is having a share.
Yeah, it could be that periphrastic perfect. He has taken a share, or it could be having taken a share, he continues to have it in the present.
So is that like Aries inspires the army to war, and Dionysus comes and takes a little bit of that and turns it into a panic?
Yeah, he's got the mad part of war where you flee in panic. This is it's funny. The thing is, all these things that are attributed to him, they're often described. He's a god with this and that power. He makes people divinatory, but there's always these things like, oh, he makes armies be destroyed, and yeah. Or if we get back to the first chorus where the first chorus describe him very decorously and so on, and they also describe him hunting with the desire for goat killing blood. So like there's little indications that Dionysus has at least one side. Like, don't take this to at least two sides. Yeah. Yeah, don't take this complacently. Thanks very much for that, Rob.
Okay.
Very, very good. And I'm sorry we have gone over time again. So, and it's 5 past. I will see you all in, I think, 4 weeks. We'll be back. I'll send some lines round. And if you can do any rereading, that's my strongest recommendation. Feel free to email with questions and suggestions. And otherwise, all the best till sometime in April.
Yeah,
Bon
wonderful
voyage.
time, Martin. I hope your holiday's fabulous.
Oh, thank you very much.
One for you.
Perfect.
Have
Great
a
time.
great time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thanks, Martin.
Yeah, well done,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Well
Good evening,
done.
all.
See you soon.